So, my name is Brandon Cooper, and I am a game developer. I've been working to get to this point for a great many years, and I'm here today to talk about my first video game, which I released about a month and a half ago, called The Nature of Prejudice. And I made this game partially in response to the atrocities that have been executed against many innocent, unarmed black people in the past 2 years, and the untold scores more that have happened in the time before that. But more than that, this is in response to the seeming willingness to hate and judge each other for what I can see as no good reason. Anyway, this is a twine game where you are able to take on the roles of different realistic people based on a specific aspect, say a particular race, or if you feel defined by your weight or by your religion, or if that's someone else and you're trying to understand what their lives are like, you're able to do that as well. And the reason I did this is so that people who are bullies and people who are being bullied can understand that they are not alone, that they are not the only ones who feel this way, or that if you are the one doing the bullying, that you can understand that the people that you are putting down and hurting are actually feeling something, to not belittle someone else's trials and tribulations, to understand that racism or sexism are not just words that entitled people use to try and get something more from the government or someone else. These are actually real and heavily affecting issues. And I felt like a game like this needed to exist, mainly because in the world of video games, race being tackled in a realistic and what I would say weighty fashion is nearly non existent. Most games might do so by saying, hey, the elves took over and did something to some other fictional race, but that really skirts past the issue by obfuscating it behind fantasy. What I'm trying to do here is a real life role playing game where if you are a young straight white gentleman, you can go through the game and say, hey, I feel defined by my sexuality, and you could see what it's like to get a taste of what it's like to maybe be gay and see how people might talk to you, or even the things that you might hear, or even if just to get a lesson on how, say, homophobic speech actually hurts people. Or if, I don't know, perhaps you're that same young white man, you might want to play as a woman, and you might be put in a situation where you can see what women go through in the workplace or what they even go through on a regular basis. Now, this isn't to say that this game is exhaustive and it's going to take every possible situation into account. If it does not take yours into account, that is not a slight and that is not ignoring your issue. This is simply meant to be a lens on an issue that, when it is talked about with a heavy dose of sugarcoating and usually not in a way that's constructive. Most people are all too ready to sit on a high horse and say, hey, you're racist, or hey, you're racist, or you're this, or you're that, or what about my rights, instead of maybe listening to people who have had their rights taken away or aren't being given rights in the first place. And at the end of the day, I feel that it's important as a relatively young media for video games to take on this. Let's stop shooting aliens for a minute and solving puzzles for a minute, or trying to contrive another reason to shoot up 10,000 people in the Middle East, and maybe look at a way that we can try and understand and care for each other without there being conditions on that. If you're in the same religion as me, or if we're both black, or if, hey, we're both white guys and look how hard things have gotten for the average white man today. I would like to actually excise all of that bullshit for once and just take a look at how someone else lives or the things that they go through. You're not the only one with problems. You're not the only one with advantages. I don't want to sit here and say, man, every white guy is privileged because I have a certain amount of privilege. I am a male. I am tall. I'm like, there are certain things that go along with that. I'm like, yes, there are a great amount of issues that surround being black. Cops look at me differently. People look at me differently. Assumptions are made before I even get a chance to say anything. But I also want everyone to know that other people go through that. With that in mind, I invite you to check out my game. It's at thenatureofprejudice.com. It is a Twine game. It is free to play. You can support if you like, and you can go play that at any time that you like. Please tell everyone you know, and I would love to know how you feel when you experience this. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Peace.